when we are discussing questioning our own system, we are exporting them now. We are saying and not only exporting. I have met the state government of at least 10 countries who are boasting that you guys are so much far ahead and we are taking your Aadhaar and we want to take your UPI, we want to take this, how do we take it forward? And all these countries are certainly smaller countries and developing countries, but they are looking up to you. I was in IGF in Japan and people are like talking that, oh my God, you guys are on this here. And here we are discussing in the room, not again and not once, but again and again, that how Aadhaar is a stack which is only collecting data and trying to link data and actually excluding more and more people. And here is South Africa and or
the
whole world is saying that how soon can we take it and how soon. So I am asking at three of you, Srinivas and Rakshita and Nikhil, is that do you think is there anything good that Aadhaar has done which earlier was not done? I'm talking from the masses perspective.
I would say one single thing that Aadhaar has consistently lied about and which has made it a disaster and therefore something that has become an adversary for many people and many programs is that it made it mandatory. If it was something that really offered advantage, people go to what offers the advantage. But it was made and is not just mandatory, it's mandatory plus. So as a basic question and a basic answer, a technology dictatorship that Aadhaar is allows itself to be everything that centralized systems do plus much more, and a disaster for many of the things that Aadhaar wants to do. But since it becomes the experiment of a dictator, you reach great disasters as well. And I shudder to think of what will happen to those countries who do it in the same framework.
Yes. And also to add to that, responses, I do see the possibilities. So for example, when for instance, many of these states have these family 360-degree databases who resisted being unhappy about it. But the one thing those databases can do, if you are tracking who is born, who died, what is their caste status, what is their age status, then the one thing you immediately know are these are 8 lakh people who should be given pension. Why is the state waiting for these 8 lakh people to apply? Use that system and database that you've created for proactive reach out. But the one thing that I want to also say is that if a system works for 80% of the people, that's nothing to congratulate oneself with. Those 80% would have worked on any paradigm, any framework. If it is not working for those that we're calling excluded, we're making it sound like it's a very tiny, minuscule percentage. There are lots of people. If it's not working for them, then what was the point of introducing it? I mean, we have not evolved then into a different, more progressive paradigm. If we keep congratulating ourselves that majority got on it, up now we are dealing with the minority, then we are exactly where we were, because that majority would have gotten onto any system you would have created. So at that public cost that you spent, you have actually gone nowhere. We are just where we were. So it's also to hold them accountable for even that benchmark or that question.
When unorganized workers e-shram data will be started, you can tag it from the Aadhaar updated mobile number. That time when multiple, you can see unorganized workers not tie up with e-shram card because multiple factors that time. Some time ask from OTP. No one can generate OTP that time. That's where the failure of the Aadhaar card to tie up with e-shram card. That is the one type of, you can see now also multiple, you can go from villages or some remote control areas, unorganized workers will be there. But today is also joined from e-shram card. But government of India is still multiple times, हमने कर दिया e-shram card, unorganized workers के लिए खाता खोल दिया, एक दुकान खोल दिया, हम सब database बना रहे. वही अभी बहुत सारे हैं, उनका क्या होगा? अगर जब आप इसको भी ये डाटा को लेके अगर जब आप गवर्नमेंट स्कीम्स बना रहे, कुछ बनाना चाह रहे, तो जो बच गए उनका क्या होगा? जो आज तक मोबाइल नंबर से आधार से जोड़ नहीं पाया, उनका तो कहीं पे भी वो नहीं है.
You look at
what was the Aadhaar program before it was called the Aadhaar program. It was called the AP Smart Card project in 2006 when there were experiments in Andhra Pradesh where they built, where they experimented EBT, electronic banking transfers, where the RBI was looking at how do we use biometrics to do banking transfers. All of this before Mr. Nilekani comes up with this idea of Aadhaar, okay? This is a state exercise, it has nothing to do with these actors. And it is not something that has been developed in India. It has been something that has been imported. Now we are saying we are exporting it, right, from India. It has been actually imported into India from Europe, from a country, Estonia. I don't know, a lot of people have looked into this. But AP, Hyderabad and Estonia have this whole historic connection all the way back to Y2K, where these are two regions where the World Bank was helping digitize, and you see a lot of models that were exported within Estonia, Hyderabad and Singapore, right? So in that sense, in fact, the Telangana government after the formation of Telangana said Aadhaar doesn't work, we don't need it. So we created our own facial recognition digital identity. Telangana is the only state in India which has its own digital identity. And it has an ID for each of us, which it doesn't disclose to us. Okay, so it tracks each of us, it doesn't disclose to us. Okay, it's a Telangana state ID.
Because you know about yourself.
Anyway, so from an ID lens, has Aadhaar done anything good? Aadhaar was an experimentation program on the welfare to help India digitize. It had nothing to do with governance, it had nothing to do with welfare, it has nothing to do with voting, it has nothing to do with deduplication. We have been conned to let the market, the private actors who want to digitize India to make money. But in this process, when you created this language of duplicates, frauds who don't have Aadhaar, you suddenly made the state go after people looking for frauds. There were none. So you deleted people, actual people from databases, from voting databases. 2018 elections in Telangana, we could not vote because of this exercise. From welfare databases, anybody who has a car, who's a car driver, cannot get a ration. Right? The state was put on a witch hunt, and this went on towards citizenship, NRC. Right? It is the language of this, what we've been told was always a lie. So if you ask me, has anything done good? You made money. Who made money? We know who made money. And they're exporting it to a different country with the same language of fraud, duplicates, with the same language of empowerment, none of which happened in India.
So it's been data injustice.
Yes.
In 2012, I think this was 5 years of Aadhaar, and we all went to Nandurbar, the Prime Minister, Sonia and all that, and we got the first person who got the Aadhaar card in Nandurbar with a big feat. I'm very short on this. And Mr. Nilekani was by that time heading this, and he was on stage with all of us. I don't know whether you have cat and house rules, because what I'm going to say is not good.
It is being broadcasted, don't worry.
Okay.
No, we don't have a chat
But
on
it's
WhatsApp
being
because it's
recorded.
being broadcast.
That's what I'm saying, they are being broadcast.
So I can say things which is that Mr. Nilekani used to come and each week used to present data about DBT and Aadhaar and LPG distribution. Okay, and he used to drop in my office every week, and we used to be very happy about it. Now, making it mandatory, okay, that's where the crux was. I would also like to tell you that Mr. Nilekani was one of the first people who went and met Mr. Narendra Modi after the regime was changed.
2014.
And he has gone there basically to continue, I'm sure that must have come up in the discussion, to continue to be the back office of our taxation system. Okay. And I can say it as a journalist that this was a quid pro quo, that the Aadhaar was made mandatory. And
But by law, it is still not mandatory.
by law, that's the whole thing. The beauty about this is that there is nothing on record that you have to link your Aadhaar with your bank card. There's nothing on record. and there's nothing on record saying you have to link your Aadhaar to your voter ID card.
Yeah.
I get a call from the voter ID people that have you linked your Aadhaar with this thing? I say I don't want to because it's voluntary. So this is how the political economy of Aadhaar has been working. What you are saying is right. I think what going forward, what we should do with all the deliberations you are having, that we should make a do's and don'ts about Aadhaar for other countries.
I was just going to tell you.
I'm not joking.
This is why I thought it was so fascinating.
Yes.
To
So
read.
what he is saying that it should be a voluntary thing.
Yeah.
And voluntary meaning that people who are in the need, it's a supply and demand thing. If you want a gas cylinder, people who are not using gas cylinder don't need Aadhaar. Okay, if you are not getting any benefit from the government and you don't want it, you don't need it. The whole idea was basically that direct benefit should be linked to Aadhaar so people know, and whoever volunteers to do that should do that. I don't have a ration card. I don't need a ration card. I don't have that LPG cylinder subsidy thing because I don't need it. I don't have a Jan Dhan account. So the people who don't need it, you do that. And it's the responsibility of the government to reach out to the people in far-flung areas and who have no means, to give them Aadhaar and all the benefits and link it by all means. My basic thing was that in DBT there was leakages. I say if you go to any big company, Walmart sets aside 3-4% of its revenue for leakages. Walmart is a multi-trillion-dollar company, and you can imagine the kind of money which they are saying this will be leaked away. The government's job is not to look at every paisa and every pie. There will be leakages in the system. So when the private sector is saying there are leakages, the government should make it in the system that it will be leaked. And you cannot have 100% leak-proof DBT anywhere in the world. It's not happening. So that's what we have to keep in mind. And also the political economy of this now it's going to be sold for billions of dollars to other countries.
Yeah.
And you should make a book like this, the do's and don'ts of Aadhaar.
Yes, it is very much is required.
Just so that there is no misunderstanding, I want to make it clear that I am saying that you cannot bring Aadhaar between me and my Narega work.
Yeah.
If I want Narega, I should not want to have Aadhaar. I may want to if it's helping me.
Yeah.
But I should get Narega
Exactly what I'm
regardless
saying.
of Aadhaar, I should get ration regardless of
Yes.
Aadhaar, I should get voting regardless of Aadhaar.
Yeah.
It cannot be made mandatory to get any right of mine. If I feel like, voluntary is if I feel like and I see it gives me some help, produce something that will give me some help, but I should have unhindered access to my right. Don't bring Aadhaar into it.
Yeah. Right should not be accessed through Aadhaar.
IDs are important. I just want to note, it's important to have IDs. It's important for people to be identified. It's a basic infrastructure of running a country, a government. I think the question here is that as IDs have become digitized, how do you make sure that all of the information, all the data, and that digitalization does not in any way violate your right to have an ID, to be identified as a citizen and act as a citizen without any kind of those issues that you are all concerned that you've raised in all of these articles. I think that's the difference, because when you go to Europe, as you said, I mean, I have a digital ID from my, because I'm also Portuguese, I carry a Portuguese passport, and I feel very comfortable with that digital ID because I know that there is a very strong data protection law in Europe that I don't have to worry about. And the fact that I have that digital ID gives me extreme power, flexibility, and that's the kind of thing, like can the discussion be in such a way, and this is what I thought was really good here, you raising all these incredible questions because of your experience of how it was implemented. That's what needs to be heard. That's what needs to be known, so that many other countries are looking at Aadhaar and replicating, and they are selling the whole model.
Yes.
And it's a great project in many ways. But how can you make it greater, so in a way that it will not create these violations and abuses and these demands that you are talking about. I think that's where this discussion needs to be more public, and you can bring others to it so that as they implement something similar or the same, they do it better and it continues to evolve, because it is important to have anyway. So,
in cases of when one is trying to exercise their right to liberty, so for instance, as lawyers, when we go to court and when somebody's been granted bail and you have to produce an ID because people have no other kind of ID, and Aadhaar is sort of the only ID now that people have, it is not considered to be a valid ID, right? If a child has been picked up by the police and is being tortured in custody and you're required to prove this child's age, people only have Aadhaar, but it's not considered to be a valid ID by the court. So it's also very interesting how when it comes to mandatory, but there will be it's selective, right? Like where is it that the state thinks this is an ID that is a non-negotiable, and where is it when you want to incarcerate people, when you want to criminalize them? So it's the crux of the surveillance architecture. But
your date of birth is the only going to be the valid point for something.
Yeah.
So why this new drama? Because my date of birth is written in Aadhaar. Why not Aadhaar?
But it's not valid.
That's what I'm saying.
It's not considered to be valid.
an ID that
Okay, great. Thank you very much. I think it was very enriching.